You're listening to School Counseling Simplified, a podcast with easy-to-implement strategies for busy school counselors. Here's your host, Rachel Davis from Bright Futures Counseling.
It's back to school season. Yay! I absolutely love the start of a new school year. It reminds me of when I was a kid getting all of my school supplies at the stores, my big Lisa Frank binders and all of that fun stuff. But really, I was thinking about those Lisa Frank binders the other day and what was up with the themes? There were dolphins on spaceships and panda bears on rainbows, just crazy stuff, but they were so fun. That's what I always think of when it comes to back to school. But what you're probably thinking of when it comes to back to school is, what am I going to do this year? Help! So I've got 2 freebies that you absolutely have to download. So the first one is a 30, 60, 90-day plan, and I give you a checklist of what you can do during your first 30, 60, and 90 days as a school counselor. This is a great way to break down that seemingly overwhelming to-do list that you have. So to snag that one, go to bit.ly/306090counseling. Again, bit.ly/306090counseling. And the other freebie I have, y'all, I'm so pumped for this one. If you haven't downloaded these lesson plans yet, you absolutely have to. I have for you a free year-long curriculum map telling you when to do and what to do every single month across every single tier. So these are lesson plans for elementary school counselors. I have in there what class lesson, what small group, what individual activity, and which data tool to use and when to use it and how to use it. You're going to love these. Again, they're free counseling lesson plans for you guys. Go to bit.ly/counseling lesson plans to download those. It's bit.ly/counseling lesson plans. Okay, guys, I'm also going to throw the links in the show notes to make it a little easier for you. I hope you love these freebies and they make your school year so much fun. Let's play a little game of Would You Rather, School Counselor Edition. Okay, would you rather spend your weekend planning a group or spend your afternoon sitting in irrelevant PD? Yikes. Or would you rather be the only counselor with no one to collaborate with, or to spend hours searching online for engaging activities? All of these options are pretty bad, right? But unfortunately, they're all too real. But what if I told you I had a solution for you? What if I told you I had access to hundreds of school counseling lessons, groups, and activities, counselor-specific trainings on the topics you need most, and a community of like-minded school counselors to support you? You would say, yes, please. Well, that is what Impact is all about. Impact is my monthly membership for school counselors, and it helps you with all of these things. You get access to hundreds of resources. That's unlimited free downloads. Log in and get what you need right away to every single resource that's in my store. We add new resources each and every month. We're adding a new middle school and elementary resource each month, and some of these are bonus Impact exclusives, meaning that you can get resources just for members. You can request resources that you need and easily search so you can find exactly what you're looking for. And let's talk about the trainings, counselor-specific trainings on the topics you need most. We do these each and every month as part of our Coffee with the Counselor series. Impact members get to join for absolutely free. You earn PD certificates and you get exclusive access to members-only things like the Ultimate Small Group Experience and our Summer Summit Conference. And the community. Y'all, this is possibly my favorite part of Impact. I so look forward to jumping on these calls, to getting to know counselors who are similar to me and also completely different. It's so fun to hear from your experiences and your challenges, and everyone brings a unique perspective to the table. We have an exclusive online community, and we even have a cool app where you can chat with other counselors in these community circles. We have our monthly calls, like I mentioned, twice a month, and we share wins, troubleshoot tough cases, and just talk about what it's like to be a counselor, because so often we're on our own island at our school sites. So if any of that sounds like it's for you, I would love to see you inside Impact. Go to stressfreeschoolcounseling.com/impact to solve all of your counselor problems. And I have a special offer for my listeners. Use code POD at checkout to save 10% off your first month. Okay, let's go to today's episode. Thanks for listening to another episode of School Counseling Simplified. So on today's episode, I want to talk to you all about small groups, but not just small groups in general, back to school specific small groups. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably excited to start small groups because they are my all-time favorite part of school counseling. Now, let me tell you something. When I was first getting started, I had all these ideas for groups that I wanted to do, and I was almost like recruiting kids for counseling. Like, hey, who wants to be in a group? Like, let's do this. Little did I know that like a month in, referrals would be coming out of my ears. So don't get too eager, but there are a few groups that you'll likely have this time of year and that are great to start. Over the years, I've noticed a trend of the go-to groups that I tend to use early in the school year. First up is a new students friendship group. So this group is specifically for new students, and it is a back to school must-have. Now what you'll do is you're going to meet with new students proactively to discuss wins alongside their anxieties as they approach their new transition. So I like to do everything in my counseling program through a proactive and preventative lens rather than a reactive lens, right? So in a new students friendship group, you can look at your school roster and find out which students are brand new this year. Now, then you can put them all in a group together, or depending how many you may have to do a few different groups or separate by grade level, whatever. But this is a great way to make sure that these students, get plugged in and know what to expect this school year. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. The way I usually do it is I have a group and we talk about like struggles and exciting things about the new school year. So we'll be candid about, what's difficult or what they missed from their old school. But then we'll also share wins, so far I love this, or I like this part of my school because of this. So that's how I like to do mine. But I've also heard of other counselors doing like a tour where they get the new group and they go around the school and make sure that they know exactly where everything is. So that's definitely something you could do in an early session, or you can even use the group to buddy up students. So this is a way that they can actually make friends in the group, like, oh, I'm new and you're new too, we have this in common. You could even pair your new students as like an exit phase from this group. Pair them with a buddy who is already at the school or who has been at the school for a while, so they kind of have like a partner if they have any questions about anything, a little mentor. So that's a new students friendship group. Like I said, I love to do this at the beginning of the year. Now this is one that you're not really going to wait for a referral for. This one you can proactively form just based on the new students that you're seeing. If you don't have time or bandwidth to do like all the new students, depending on how many you have, you could reach out to teachers and say, hey, who's having a hard time? I know you just noticed you have these new students. Is anyone having a hard time? Let's go ahead and start meeting with them to ease the transition. All right, the next one is another friendship group, but this one isn't new students. This is any student, but those younger ones. I like to do it for K to 2, and because you probably have a few little ones in mind who struggle with making and maintaining friendships or resolving conflicts peacefully. So if you're at your same school, you're coming back, you may have some kids in mind who had a hard time with friendships last year. So I love to do like a little flower garden themed friendship group for the little ones to help them learn those essential friendship social skills, how to nurture their friendships, the seeds for initiating a new friendship, how to take care of a friendship. You can even pair this with like an actual garden if you want to get really creative and have the kids plant seeds, and you talk about how you have to take care of your seeds and tend to the garden, tend your friendships. I find that this analogy works really well for this age group. So I love to do this one at the beginning of the year. Don't wait till a lot of conflicts happen before you start seeing these kiddos. You can go ahead and start working on those friendship skills early on. The third group I want to talk about is a self-control group. So it won't be long before those self-control referrals come piling in. Believe me, this is one of the first things I start to see referrals for. So I'd love to do a small group to teach impulse control strategies and to help students learn to recognize the signs of anger and frustration in their bodies. And then for older kids, you could, pivot and make this more like healthy habits, healthy decision making, making good choices. But for the younger kiddos, it's more like, I am bouncing off the walls. How can I control my impulses? So I love to do a self-control group. I'm going to link to all of my groups in the show notes. So if you guys are like, I don't have this group, or I don't know what to do with this group, I'll link to my groups that have like all the outlines and activities and everything. And the final group I want to talk about is a goal-setting group. So the start of a new school year is the perfect time to set goals. So if you know some students who, have a hard time getting motivated, or who you think struggled last year and could use some extra support, you can do a goal setting group to help them implement support systems to reach their goals. So I love to do a goal setting group, focus on their motivations, and really get the kids off on a strong start. If you are trying to prevent some academic struggles that you know may be coming based on last year, you can always do an academic skills or an executive functioning group as well. These groups I tend to do second semester a lot, but again, let's be proactive and preventative, so it's never too early to start one of these groups. You know, if we're helping the kids learn the executive functioning skills they need now and the study skills they need now and the goal setting strategies they need now, then when the academic rigor steps up in a month or so, they'll be prepared. So those are 4 groups that I recommend you start at the end of the school year. Like I said, I'll link to those in the show notes, and I hope you find them super helpful. Okay, guys, have an awesome week, and don't forget to download those freebies. I have that 30, 60, 90-day plan and those counseling lesson plans for the entire school year. All right, talk to you next Tuesday.
Thanks for listening to School Counseling Simplified. You can find the links from today's episode in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with Rachel, she's on Instagram and Teachers Pay Teachers at Bright Futures Counseling. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes of School Counseling Simplified. Talk to you next week.